Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin Bubble News channel? People who don't like Ethereum say that one of its problems is that its monetary policy is a lot like the US dollar, right? Over time, choices are made about things like whether monetary policy will be tighter or not, how many loans will be available, and so on. Once more, the story isn't as clear. It's not as certain. I also find it interesting that Ethereum has said for a long time, hey, we're the smart contract platform, and they were the leader in that space. There is now a lot of competition though, right? It's not the quickest or cheapest. There are now these other blockchains. Actually, I think that money will be coming into the Ethereum ETFs. Of course, the price of Ether will go up, but not by as much as some people are hoping because of these other factors. Anthony Pompliano, the CEO of Professional Capital Management and a well-known figure in the crypto market, recently joined CNBC for a talk. He talked about how the SEC put the Ethereum ETF on the market, what this means for the business world, new information about the Bitcoin ETF, and how politics affect the prices of cryptocurrencies. Pompliano talked about the historic start of the Ethereum ETF and how much money it brought in, over $100 million in net flows in just one day. He used the initial excitement around the QQQ ETF to wonder if the second Ethereum ETF would have the same effect. He pointed out that media attention and overall enthusiasm had decreased. He said that Ethereum's story is more complicated because of its technology base and the fact that there is more competition. Pompliano talked about the possibility for diversification if investors split their holdings between Ethereum and Bitcoin when he introduced the Ethereum ETF. He does not think the inflows will be as big as those for Bitcoin though, because ETF users will not be able to stake or receive cash flow. Pompliano saw a lot of money going into Bitcoin funds and said that the approval of the Ethereum ETF shows that Wall Street is becoming more open to alternative currencies, which could make the crypto market bigger. He talked a lot about the portfolio method, in which people use different cryptocurrencies to carry out their business plans. When talking about Ethereum's monetary policy, Pompliano drew attention to the fact that it goes through cycles, like the US dollar. He called Ethereum's dominance into question by pointing out that it faces competition from other blockchains. He also said that because of these factors, there won't be as much money moving into Ethereum ETF as was first thought. Let's check out the Bitcoin ETF now. In my mind, there is an important event. This was likely the best ETF start ever. The BlackRock Bitcoin ETF has had more net flows than QQQ so far this year, which is an interesting fact. So there are huge flows there, more than $500 million just yesterday. Also, I think a lot of people ask, that was the first one. Will the second one be as big? That's not true, I think. Before I got on, I checked all the big news sites and found that not as many people were talking about it. That's why the media attention, hype, and other things like that aren't really there. That makes you wonder why not as many people are talking about it. I also believe that the fact that Ethereum's story isn't as clear as one of its problems. When you use Bitcoin, it's very clear, right? It's like digital gold. When we talked about Ethereum, we were talking about a platform for technology. There's a lot more competition and so on. But if you go to Bitwise and talk to the people there, they're starting ETHW today, they'll tell you that there is diversification. That's very popular on Wall Street. So maybe the good thing about Ethereum is that it will make people say, well, I don't want just one, I'd like to have a few of them. This is Bitcoin, it's Ethereum. That's enough for me to do a 7030 split. Because the story isn't as clear, I think we need to see how these lines will look. You won't be able to get to the betting. They can't get the cash flow that people love about Ethereum since they own these ETFs. I also don't think the flows will be nearly as big as Bitcoin. For that reason, the question is, how much will this really change the price? If Bitcoin is going to be used as a model at all, show us how the flows work. You'd say, well then, even if you said the 7030 idea was how you were going to expand, should you just say that this is 30% of what that was? Yes, well, I think that some of these Bitcoin funds have $10, $15, or $19 billion in them. Really, this is real money going into these things. The acceptance of the Ethereum ETF is interesting to me, but what I think it means most to me is less about Ethereum and more about the rest of the market. So far, this makes me think that all altcoins will come to Wall Street. It might take some time. There might need to be more clarity in the rules. Some people might treat them a certain way, but Wall Street will see these things. What went from 0 to 1? Is it going to be Bitcoin? Doesn't it? Is now going to be a crypto business. That's interesting because people who use this portfolio model or method will start to use it for all crypto. One of the things that I think people don't like about Ethereum is that its monetary policy is a lot like the US dollar. Okay, every so often choices are made about whether the monetary policy will be tighter or not, how many will be available, and so on. Once more, the story isn't as clear. It's not as certain. Also, I think it's interesting that Ethereum has said, hey, we're the smart contract platform. And they were the leader in that space. There is now a lot of competition though, right? It's not the quickest or cheapest. There are now these other blockchains. With that in mind, I think that money will move into the Ethereum ETFs. Even though the price of Ether will go up, it won't be by as much as people are thinking because of these other factors. I have a lot of opinion. Last year I sold all of the Ethereum I had. Solana did better than I thought it would. You are now a Solana maximalist. No, it's the second most important job. And the way we think about it is that the Bitcoin position we have will stay the same, but that's a whole different world. The idea is that you should be in the product that is cheaper, moves faster, and is likely to get more flows. This very decentralized exchange on Solana is actually taking market share away from Ethereum if you look at the DEX traffic. We just think there's a lot more speed. It's an asset with a smaller market cap that is likely to do better. Let's turn the screen around and show everyone Bitcoin right now. We went up and down the mountain, which made us curious. Now we're going up the mountain again. What do you think is really going on here if this is price discovery? To begin, we've done a lot of mountain climbing over the years. I don't think there's anything new. Having said that, I believe that if you look at Bitcoin over the last 2 weeks, it has been very responsive to many of these global or uncertain times. Okay, you can see that Bitcoin prices dropped right away when news came out that President Trump was okay after the attempted murder. Bitcoin went up a lot. If you look back to last week or weekend, you can see Joe Biden announcing that he is dropping out of the race. Again, Bitcoin went down when there was news, but it came back right away when there was some certainty. He goes ahead and backs Harris. Because of this, I believe these assets are beginning to blend the line. It used to be the financial world and the crypto business. You're now getting a picture of the whole stock market. I really don't understand what you mean there. What do you mean he's out, right? If so, there's a chance that someone more electable than Kamala Harris will take her place. It goes back up when you learn it's Kamala Harris. It's all about being sure, right? For example, when there is an attempt on the president's life, the news comes out that the candidate was shot. So all of a sudden, prices go down because people are scared. Price comes back as soon as he's fine. Yes, the current president is not going to run for re-election. Click on the link and read it again. There's no telling what will happen. It's interesting to me because it's just how people are, right? When you hear some news, right? At that moment, someone told me, hey, President Trump was just shot. Okay, got a text message right away. You know what I mean? When I go on Twitter, it's like human nature takes over. You think, oh my God, what happened once you understand that you've seen the video, read the news, etc. Think, okay, it looks like he's okay, etc. I believe that markets act in the same way. It's also interesting that both of those things happen on the weekend. The stock market is closed, but this is open. There you go, but Andrew is right. It's not a trip to safety like you might think. In the end, it was, but I think the first thing people feel when they hear news like that is fear. After that, you can do the safe trips. Of course, all of that took 15 minutes, right? The news itself may have